Alrighty. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? In today's live, we're going to be talking about how I'm writing a lot of business and how you can do the same thing. So, if you want to learn how to make a lot of money with not a ton of effort by shoveling driveways or mowing lawns like both of us used to do, you're going to want to stick to the end of this because we've got some great stuff coming. What's going on, Tim? How are you today? Oi, crikey, mate. I think he might be muted, yeah? Looks like his service just went out there. Well, anyways, while we've got all these beautiful ladies and gentlemen here that have just jumped on, drop a comment down below with where you're checking in from, what part of the country. For all my people here in the States, I'm going to be jumping on so I can bounce around in the comment with you as well. Let's see. Alrighty.
All right, I'm back.
Crikey, mate. Didn't know if he was jumping back on, yeah?
Minor issues, but we're back.
Here we go. Well, here we are just talking about life insurance sales, and we've got some supporters jumping in. Some of the people coming in here from the agency. Pat coming in, tuning in from NYC. Corey Guidry coming in. He actually got a deal today, working here at Zoosurance. What a killer! And David McClen coming in from Houston, Texas. McCooney. Got a couple other people here. I don't want to get too lost in the weeds reading everyone's names off. But, Tim, why don't you start us off here? Give us some quick value, mate.
Yeah, 100%. So what I really want to touch on in this live is kind of just doing a full breakdown of Julian's numbers and his entire sales process. And I also want to open it up for Q&A for all of you that are on the call to jump on and ask questions specifically to us. So what I'm going to do right now is actually drop a link in the comments here.
Yeah, drop a link, mate.
For all of you guys to join. You guys can actually jump in on the live stream and jump on here and ask us some questions. But without any further ado, we're going to jump right into it here and start kind of breaking down Julian's $12,000, almost $13,000 a week. So I know you've had a couple of 10K weeks, Julian, in the past, but I really want to dive deep into this and figure out what is the difference between writing 10K and writing 13K, and what have your biggest takeaways been that have allowed you to level up to this new level?
Great question there, mate. So I think the biggest thing, I've only had, I think, over 12K. I've only ever done this twice, I believe, in my career. This has been the second time. And what I really want to talk about here is whenever I've gone into these 12K weeks, it's unsuspecting. Yeah. Unsuspecting because I'm not aiming for 12K. I don't wake up one night and think to myself, this is it. I'm going to write over $12,000 this week. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I'm aiming for lower than 12K. And because of the fact that we have a system that supports higher levels of production, I am able to plug into that and take advantage of it. But the biggest paradigm shift has come from me as an individual. And I've been talking a lot about this with the agents that I'm working with, my coworkers at Zoosurance, where it's not about how much time you put into the task, but about how much energy you give to the task in the time allotted. And what I mean by that is that basically I want to do more with less. And it's basically like the leverage, for lack of a better term, right? Because you can work 15 hours a day, 500 dials, fingernails bleeding, and nothing will even happen. I've been there. I've been that agent. It's a dark world. I don't want to go back. Good Lord. And what the truth about it is that I've got to get more skilled, first of all, with my script, the objections, and third of all, more disciplined with my time. And I used to show up thinking 15-hour days were the answer, and I've actually started making more by working less. Everyone's on here thinking, this guy's so soft, what a wacko. But what I found is that if I get a good night's sleep, an 8 hours of sleep, and let my body tell me when to wake up, I'm trying to avoid using alarms, electronics late at night. I'm focusing on eating 3 square meals a day on time at the same time, going to bed at the same time, finding a consistent sleep schedule, drinking a lot of water, and just really focusing in, zeroing in on myself as a person. If I can function at the highest level, so can my business. And I think most people try to do it backwards, where they try to focus on their business at the highest level and they let themselves go, which is something that I did early on that totally wrecked my situation. And that's my biggest piece of advice so far.
All right. Who here thinks that we've absolutely just lost it? Just comment down below if you guys are like, what the hell is going on here?
Boy, crikey, Tim, where'd the accent go? Yeah.
Dude, I lost it, man. I lost it. But nah, on a more serious note, everything that Julian was just saying, even though he sounded, you know, a little different than normal, 100% on point, right? And so for those of you guys that got right past the heavy Australian accent and the overemphasis on everything that he was saying, there's some gold. There's some gold in there. And this is one of the things that Julian and I have both kind of like put more attention to, personally and professionally, is the more that we focused on our personal lives, it's reflected into our business. And so what I mean by that is not like, you know, I don't know, journaling and self-affirmations or whatever it is. I mean, like really looking and auditing our time and auditing the energy that we're able to bring into the biggest difference, because for those of you guys that are newer to the channel or don't know us, Julian and I we got started doing face-to-face, right? We were doing face-to-face direct mail leads, working 100+ hour weeks, right? Like 100-hour week, including drive time and everything, would be like a normal week. 6 days a week, we'd take Sunday off, but we would usually be doing some kind of like admin work, just going like full on, full blown, like about as deep into the business as you can possibly get. And the most that I think I ever wrote was 7K face to face, most of it charged back. Julian, I think one time had an 8K week, most of it charged back. And that was our lives, like every week, week after week after week after week. And we would eat Chick-fil-A, and we were drinking too much and doing too many things that we shouldn't have been doing, and not really taking care of ourselves. Julian gained weight. I gained weight. We didn't sleep enough. It was just like a very bad situation. But looking back, that's the way that most people are told is going to make them more money. But what you realize, and what has actually allowed us to get to the next level, right? Because 7K, I mean, that was my second week selling. For most people, that's a great week. But I didn't make any money because most of it charged back, and my life was miserable. So what I really want to talk about on this live stream today and on this Q&A, we got an hour together, we're about 10 minutes in, is the strategies and the systems that have allowed us to nearly double the production that individual producers are doing on our team while working less and actually enjoying our lives more and being healthier and happier than we've ever been, which sounds like total bullshit, but it's not. So that's why I sent out this email. That's why we're posting this on YouTube today. It's because I think if just a few of you guys can take what we're saying to heart, actually implement it, not only are you going to make more money, but you're also going to have a more enjoyable life and a more balanced life where you can put more in during the hours that you're working and fully relax and spend time with your family in the hours that you're not. So with that being said, who wants us to dive right into that? Does that sound like something that would be worth your guys' time, learning the strategies that have allowed us to sell more while working less? Just comment more/less. Or just comment yes. Just comment yes. We'll keep it simple. If that sounds like something that would be valuable. Or don't comment if you don't think that it would be valuable. We got a yes from David McClin, all caps. Yes from Brian Flynn. Def from McCooney. Biz Coach says, love it. Thanks, with a thumbs up. And for those of you guys that are just joining, drop in the city and state that you're tuning in from so we can shout you out. Corey says, yes. Fantastic. So the way that this live stream is going to kind of go is Julian and I are going to kind of do back and forth. And then if you guys have any questions, I want you guys to actually come on the Zoom or the StreamYard, whatever it is, on the live with us and ask us questions. So I'm posting this link here. If you guys want to come on, you'll just be in the waiting room while we're talking. And then whenever we're ready to have you ask a question, we'll just call on you and bring you in. So if you guys want to ask a question directly, I know a lot of you guys are selling, maybe in the position that Julian and I were when we were face to face, just working a ton and not making what you want to make. And you guys have some questions for us, jump on in and we're happy to answer them for you. And I promise we don't bite. So yeah, Julian, what are the biggest tweaks, the biggest changes that you've made that have allowed you to make $12,000, $13,000 in sales in a week?
Well, I stopped spending all of the money that didn't charge back on Chick-fil-A breakfast meals. And ultimately that contributed to my health long term. But outside of just pounding fast food and drinking lemonades and sweet teas and all these things that really were killing me, I think the biggest thing, and I think as salespeople, you always feel this because we do get stuck with long hours a lot of the time. Like as a salesperson, you just you are the front line, and it's like everybody else in the 95 goes home. Everybody else that does tech support or whatever, the carriers clock out, everybody goes home. And sometimes because we are selling we're writing the business, we're making the money. Sometimes we just got to stick around until 8 or even 9 p.m. And the biggest shift for me, honestly, has really and I know this sounds crazy to everyone, has honestly been just nailing my sleep schedule, going to bed at the same time, disconnecting, and waking up at the same time consistently, and then hitting the gym to get a good energy flow for the day. Because when I do that, I'm not irritated or irritable on the phone or dealing with a prospect who's just a wacko. I'm able to absolutely smash through objections because I'm cool as can be. I'm not frustrated anymore. I'm not pissed off and annoyed. And if I get cut off in traffic, I'm not ready to follow somebody home because I'm getting enough rest and I'm feeding myself properly and taking care of myself as a person. And for me, I think that's the biggest things. I'm still using a lot of the same word tracks. I think I've just got a better grasp on inner peace than most people at this point in my life. And that's why I'm able to comfortably sit here and have conversations with people, even if they're cussing me out up and down, instead of being like, I don't need this, click, right? It doesn't matter. They're not mad at you. They don't actually care. And if you took care of yourself, you would realize that. But it's easy to take things personal and be the victim whenever you're pissed off and angry because you don't get enough sleep, you're drinking too much caffeine, which also makes you irritable, and you're not eating enough, and so you're hungry, your blood sugar is low, your blood pressure is high, and you're just ultimately just pissed off at the highest level. I think that's why people actually burn out and see their weeks drop off and their income up and down, is because they're constantly in this weird state of mind where they're not really taking care of themselves, and it just leads to irritability and frustration. And I've found a way to really avoid that, and it's by just straight up taking care of myself. But I mean, as boring of an answer as that is, there's no silver bullet. It's not just the script or the leads or this or that. It's also about taking care of you. Ultimately, we're the engine that moves the car. So
100%. I see Devana just joined the stream, but for some reason, I think your mic and cam, it says it's disconnected. So if you sort that out, you can jump on and ask whatever question you had. I see Biz Coach says, huge to hear the challenges to health and mind. Keep you solid for the long term, and everyone needs to hear it and then do it. 100%. 100%.
yeah.
So with that kind of being I guess the way that I see it is it's you have the foundation, right? We call it the pyramid. The foundation of everything is your sleep, your diet, your exercise, your health, everything on the bottom. And all of the skills, all of the stuff you do during the day is built on top of that foundation, right? and that's like the script, the dials, all of the tools that you're using, all of the skills and the tactics that you learn. And I want to pivot a little bit to that side because I mean, we could have a whole live stream here about sleeping and diet and all of that kind of stuff that's been super helpful for us. But as far as the tactical stuff goes, when it comes to actually being on the phone, tell me a little bit about what your process looks like when you're calling these people and how you're just getting so many of them to say yes.
Yeah, great question. And I'll go back to
Your mic disconnected, bud. No, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
You're back, yeah.
I don't know what happened. I was just gonna say, so back to sleeping. Totally kidding, but yeah. So I mean, really, the biggest thing is like I've spent a lot of time focusing and learning on really tonality, delivering the same message as someone else in a different way. What time do I go to bed and wake up? I go to bed at 9:30 and wake up at 5:30 unless my body needs more rest. Sometimes I'll sleep until 5:45 or 6, but it's always a consistent like same time 9:30 go to bed. But not to get off track on the sleep thing again. And but
Unless you guys want to talk about it.
yeah, unless you guys just really want to talk about like health, I can go super deep on that and like whatever. But with specifically with the tactical side of things, I think one of my superpowers, I was just telling an agent, specifically Pat, the one in the comments, about like the superpowers of sales. Everyone can say the same script and everyone can get a different result. And the superpower of sales is knowing how to overcome all of the objections because you're going to beat your competition that way. And so, for example, the way that I look at it is like every time you get hit with an objection, it's kind of like pulling a muscle while you're running a marathon. And so for every objection, if you just pull an extra muscle, if you turn back at one muscle pulled, I just win the race by not turning back. And so for some people, they're like David Goggins. I'm one of those people in sales specifically. I'm not running until my feet bleed and having kidney failure, but like specifically in sales, when it comes to the objections, I'm at the finish line and I'm like just a skeleton. I'm just like a shell of my former self. I've gone through so many of them to get to the yes. And I think the biggest thing is that like if you can really nail down the word tracks on overcoming objections, I heard about some agencies don't even give out objection overcome word tracks. That's something that I focus on huge, right? And for me, that has been one of the biggest superpowers, but also focusing in on the tonality. And this is something I wish I would have told Pat earlier also, is that it's not just about what you say, it's how you say it. And for me, the reason why so many people are willing to purchase policies and do business with me is because of how I say what I'm saying, not just the fact that I'm saying, because like there's only so many ways to introduce yourself in a call. You know what I mean? Like I can only say like, hey, is Tim there? Hey, Tim, or however, like you can only say that so many different ways in so many different words. Like it's not like I'm going to be like saying some crazy like introduction, like Tim, this is 911. Haha, just kidding. Like that's not going to be my call intro. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to be an absolute psychopath or something to get these people to buy. You just have to use the right tonality. And I think the biggest thing that is contributing to what I'm doing currently and how I'm able to, I mean, I called one person today and made a sale immediately off the first phone call. And
the first phone
pickup.
call you made?
First pickup. Okay. I don't think it was the first phone call, but it was the first pickup. And that's not uncommon for me at all. And the reason for that is that I really take a curious tone with people. So instead of being like, you know, hey, is Tim there? Hey, Tim, it's Julian. I'll come in with a very curious tone, like, hey, is Tim there? And when they say, like, give me a yes real quick, I'll give a quick demonstration of what I mean by curious tone. Like, hey, is Tim there?
Yeah, yes.
Hey, Tim, it's just Julian. I was calling to see if we could even help. I have the request you sent us here about the life insurance plans here in the area. Was this your first time looking into life insurance?
Give an answer.
No, you don't have to. But I just wanted to give people a quick snippet of what it looks like to sound curious, to keep your prospect engaged. And I think engagement
100%.
is the reason why these people are buying so much from me, is because I'm genuinely listening to what the hell they have to say, whereas most people are just trying to get to the next line on their script. And there's some other gurus on YouTube. Not that we're gurus. I don't want to say we're gurus. I don't like that word.
Other gurus.
But yeah, there's other gurus out there that'll tell you that you just have to care about your clients or whatever. But like, the truth is you just have to listen, and listening conveys care. But listening is what sells the policies, because attention to detail is what's going to move things across the line. I just don't miss things that you're missing on the phone right now if you're watching this, because I'm listening. And it's easy to sell someone something and tell them what they want to hear when you shut up and ask the questions and let them talk, because they're going to tell you.
I have a question that might sound stupid.
What's up?
How do you listen?
That's a great question. And I think it's a question that people think is stupid, but they never actually ask. And that's why they're not doing it and making money in this. You want to ask questions that are going to give you the answers to solve the problem that they have. And when you ask those questions, you just stop talking afterwards. And I know that sounds like a really basic answer, but to really, somebody asked us to sell our course on here from a while back. They asked us to pitch it. Gosh, that makes me feel so good. But the thing about listening is that what you'll find, and there's a lot of agents that do this, is they'll try and answer questions for people. Like, hey, Tim, do you know the difference between term and whole life insurance? If you haven't, I can explain those to you. Do you know what the difference is? Well, yeah, here. So basically it's like they don't even respond. Like, you're just like plowing them over like they're snow. And it just builds up into this big ball of objections that just absolutely detests you by the end of the phone call, because you're not likable. Likable people just ask questions and listen. And if you genuinely listen to what they have to say, and instead of like, don't wait to respond, listen to respond. So it's not about getting to the next line. I'll go off script. It's okay to do that. Like, I know there's some upline in here from something that rhymes with SNL. That's going to be like, oh my gosh, going off of the script, that's insanity, right? But like, if somebody tells you something valuable, I don't have to just go right to the next line of my script, because your script is a piece of paper that's black and white and doesn't care. Right? But the person, if they tell, oh, well, my brother died last week. Okay. And how much insurance were you looking for? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, exactly. So it's almost like the customer selling themselves, and you're just here to help them realize themselves. They're solving their own problem. Yes, that's it. That's exactly it. That's all you have to do. This is it right here. I don't know who commented this, but you're a genius. This is exactly what I do. I just ask, yeah, great job, Facebook user. They're going to quote you one day, whoever a Facebook user is. Seems like the old Chinese proverb. Facebook user proverb. But yes, exactly. People, I don't do anything special. It's not a specific thing that I'm doing, like with what I'm saying. It's the absolute inverse. I'm just listening. And I'm more or less like, they're basically saying, hey, I want to go to the other side of the bridge, but there's all these things in the way and I don't know how to get there. And I'm like, really? Well, I'm going to walk backwards. You just tell me which way to go. That way I don't bump into anything and I'll get you across. And then they're like, okay, take a left, take a right, take a left. Don't go. No, stop. Go around that. Go around the right side. And they basically just guide me through the whole sales process to the end where I'm just like, wow, I mean, well, which one do you want to apply for? I'm like, that one. Okay. Well, gosh, I mean, if you get approved, do you just want to pay today? Yes, I do. It's like, oh, okay. And so it's such a great way of dealing with people because I don't even have to sell anybody anymore. I just listen and I'm just nice and they just buy from me. I get paid more. It's great. That's all I'm doing.
So for people, because like this is something I struggle with personally, like in my personal life, is like actually really deeply listening when somebody's talking to me. Like maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like other people probably struggle with this too. Is like somebody will be talking and then I just kind of like zone out and I don't actually hear what they're saying. Like I hear the words, but I'm not like deeply comprehending what they're saying. And that's something that's extremely important in sales because your whole job is to understand what they're telling you and repeat it back to them perfectly. Right? Like re-articulate the reason for buying better than they can articulate it themselves.
Correct.
And so for people that are like me, for example, and they kind of struggle to like really just like focus in on the words that somebody's saying when they're talking on a call, what would a strategy be to like kind of like center yourself and just like really hone in, dial focus? So like, because in sales, it's little minor things that they say or little dips or raises in their tonality that give you the clues that you need to close them. So you really do have to be listening intently. So how would you recommend for somebody to like listen intently?
Well, addition by subtraction, remove any distractions you have in your workspace. Like if you got Facebook notifications popping off, I know there's a few people that might jump off after I said that one. They feeling called out. But if you've got Facebook notifications popping off on you, ding or whatever sound it makes on your computer. Yeah, I just saw one jump off. Facebook's dinging. Then it's always gonna kill your deal. Because if I'm like, yeah, and that's from my ding, that in my brain, that's ding. It's like you can't focus with that. And so I said, first, remove your distractions because we're all distracted. Even in your personal life, there's probably a TV on in the background somewhere. Dogs are running around. Family members are calling you. You're getting text messages and Slack messages from the business. You're thinking about work. They're talking to you about this. You're trying to respond. Your parents are going to be visiting next Christmas. And it's just like there's all these things going on. And one of the things that has really helped me is just first eliminate your distractions. Put the phone away. Turn Facebook off. Notifications are the worst thing in the world. Like I don't even have.
I have no notifications on my phone.
I just have it on for you and my wife. That's literally it. And I wish I could turn those off, but those are like I can't really get around those. And honestly, I mean, just trying to like you have to try to listen. Like I'm not just a good listener. I have to really what's up, Dom? I have to really try to listen. It's a very difficult thing to do because we all just want to talk about ourselves. And it's very, are you with DBGA? I don't know why I couldn't say that. Jeff Root. We're technically under David Duford. But whenever I'm listening to someone, I did an exercise a long time ago when I first got into sales. I think I came up with it. I don't want to take credit for it if I didn't. But if you can find out who did it, please let me know. But what I did is I would have somebody make up a story in every role play that we did. And I would have them tell me, and I would have to repeat back little details to them. And I would I would focus as much as I possibly could on the little details in the role play. And I would do a 5 to 7 minute role play so that I had to recall details from within the last 5 to 7 minutes on a different avatar every time, back to back. So I trained myself at a high level to be able to listen in to information people give me within back-to-back phone calls within a different time frame. And sometimes you'll start to mix these things up. But there's this beautiful thing called notes. What? You can take notes? Yep. That's right. You can take notes on conversations. So I take notes on what these people tell me. I listen. And what I find to be important to the prospect is important to me. So if Tim says, yeah, my brother died of cancer last month and I'm very scared of cancer, then I'm going to be like, wow, why? Like when you say that you're scared of cancer, is it just because of what happened with you and your brother, or is there something else that kind of brought that fear up in your past previously? Right? And so all of a sudden now they're like, well, shit, I don't know. But I would say like, and you guys will notice this. A lot of the times, if you ever get a chance to train with me and my team, you'll notice I ask really good questions a lot of the times. Not because I'm like, oh wow, let me go to my question library, but I'm just listening. And so I want to obviously give the stage here to McCooney. I don't want to like jump off of the rails of listening, but just remove your distractions and ask good questions that is based off of the information that they're giving you. What's up, McCooney? Am I saying that right? I think so. Is it frozen? Can't hear you.
Hey, can you hear us?
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Hope he's okay. I don't know what happened. Let's see.
We're
We're talking about listening. While we're doing that, I'm going to see if there's any questions. We eat what we kill, so we're only hurting ourselves and allowing distractions to take us off course. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You have to listen whenever you're doing right, taking notes and repeating. But yeah, I'm basically like every conversation, I'm just studying the person. It's not like I'm not doing anything out of control. I'm just like studying my prospect, basically. Like imagine you're studying for a test, but instead it's the person. Like study, what do they call it? Study the man. Play the man, not the game. You ever heard that?
I've heard hate the player, not the game.
So the concept of like play the man, not the game is if you're playing cards or some form of game that requires mental energy, golf, cards, you can do it with soccer or anything else at all. But if you're playing the man, instead of, let's say me and Tim are playing a game of chess, instead of playing the game and trying to beat him at the game, if I play with him in his own mind, I can beat him outside of the game to win the game automatically. So I can be like, wow, man, is that your wife? Really? You got married to that? How'd that happen? And he's already, oh man, what the hell is this guy saying about my wife? Who does this guy think he is? Right? He might not say that to me, but he might think it in his head. Well, actually, the further away she gets, she doesn't look so bad. Let's see. I think it's my turn. 1 second, buddy. And now he's thinking about his wife. I'm making comments. It's kind of like, it's almost like talking shit in sports, right? You play the man. But in this scenario, like I don't want to play the policy where it's like, okay, and this policy built a cash value, blah, 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 blah. And like you're just like throttling them with information. It's more so I'm trying to get information from them so that I can give them the information that they want to make the purchase. Because nobody cares about like hearing every single detail about their insurance policy and reading page 13 of their packet. Like there's nothing enjoyable about that.
So I think Bakuni joined and then left. I think he said sorry. I don't know what happened, but you're welcome to jump back on if you want to ask your question. And anyone else is also welcome to join. Julian, do you think it would be valuable if we did like a kind of like a live role play almost?
Yeah, we can do that. Whatever you guys want to do.
What do you guys think? Would that be valuable if we do like kind of like a live role play, back and forth kind of deal?
I'm not going to script it. I'm just going to dome that shit.
Sale process looks like. All right. You do like rapid fire objections or something like that. I really want to make this like kind of tailor this to what you guys are struggling with the most, and then we can kind of go from there. I don't have like some crazy PowerPoint like I usually do, so I wanted to kind of just tailor this to like whatever you guys want and kind of talk about the 12K week.
I've got some. Before we jump into that, I think I've got a really good thing that would be helpful for you guys going into objections. I think that All right,
hold up. I'm gonna stop you there. So hold that thought. I gotta hit you off balance. Too expensive. I'm just gonna save for my funeral.
Both of them or each one of them? I'm cool with either one.
It's one objection.
I'll do it.
Life insurance is too expensive. I'm just gonna save for my funeral.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And when you say that you're going to save for your funeral, like, would you be doing that with the funeral home plans or would you be doing that with like a savings account?
Probably the funeral home plan. My brother is friends with the funeral director, so I'll just go down there and figure
Oh,
out what they got.
beautiful. I'm jealous. I wish my brother-in-law was friends with the funeral director. When you say that you're going to go there, would you be putting the same payment that you'd put into the insurance into the funeral home savings account, or would you be putting less into it?
I don't know. I'd have to see what they offer. It would
Well, you
depend.
get to decide what the payment would be. That's what I'm just trying to figure out. Like, would you be putting that into the savings account there at the funeral home? Would it be the same $32 a month that you'd put into the insurance policy, or would you be putting less over there into that?
I mean, I'd probably put a little bit less.
A little bit less. Okay. Now, would that be closer to like maybe $25 to $28 per month, or what would that look like? I'm trying to get an idea of how long it would take you to save up for this funeral, so we can come up with a plan here.
I mean, I don't know. I'll have to talk to them first. I have no idea. I got to go down
Okay.
there and see.
Yeah, for sure. Why don't we play this out? Let's just assume that you go down there and they just put in the exact same amount that you'd already put into this, the $32 a month, just for the sake of the example. Is that okay, Tim? Can we play that out real quick?
Yeah, sure. I don't know where you're going with this, but
Sure.
I don't have
So
anything better to do.
yeah, sure. So the reason I ask is because if you were to put $32 a month into that funeral home policy and pass away 3 months from now, to pay for that traditional burial, you would have only put down, let's see what the math works out to there, $96, which means that with the funeral home, your family is going to be responsible for the rest of the cremation, right? And so with the average cremation coming out to about $5,000, if you include the service, transportation fees, and everything else, that means that in this scenario, your family would be responsible for $4,904. But if you only make one insurance payment for the $32 that we've discussed here today, instead of getting a $4,900 bill, your family would get a $5,000 check. Now, based off of those two scenarios, do you think it would make more sense for you to get the insurance, or do you think that it would make more sense for you to go with the funeral home savings account?
I mean, in that situation, I guess it would make more sense to go with the insurance, but I don't have any plans to die in the next 3 months, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you and me both, my friend. I have no plans to die here in the next 3 months, but that's not really a decision we get to make now, is it? Because
I mean, I guess not.
yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that really concerns me. I mean, I remember there was a client when I first was doing this out face to face that he was 50 years old. He was in great shape, and gosh, this guy was like, he looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger's little brother, man. This guy was awesome. I mean, he's great shape. And I remember coming by to his house and he wouldn't even talk to me. And I thought maybe it was just because I was funny looking or something, Tim. But what it came down to was he'd actually just gotten a terminal cancer diagnosis here just a few months ago. And I spoke with his wife about this because somebody from the company that I worked at had actually come out 2 years ago to talk to him about the insurance. And after discussing what it would look like for a plan for them, it was only $40 a month between the cancer treatments and the bills that were just piling up. They were having to get rid of the house, sell the car, and she was going to have to move in with her sister after her husband died. And I remember her tears soaking through my shirt there. And she said she wished she would have just taken care of it sooner. And so while this isn't something that we plan to do, I don't plan on dying anytime soon either. We really just don't know when that would happen. So I guess, do you think it would make more sense to go ahead and take care of that bill now, or what does that look like?
I mean, yeah, I guess the life insurance probably would make more sense. You're definitely right. I wouldn't want to put my family in that situation.
Yeah, and Tim, we would still have to get you approved for this. So I don't even know if you'd qualify, but I would have to confirm a few pieces of information here with you real quick. Give me 1 second while I get this pulled up for us, okay?
Okay.
And then Tim, just in the event that you did get approved, would you want to go ahead and get this payment set up for today? That way you're insured moving forward and you don't have any of this stress following you around until the beginning of next month?
Fire. Who else has got an objection? You guys can jump on and give him the objection too, or you can just give it to me and I'll be the prospect. but that was fire.
Yeah, and that was
Really,
just off the
really
cuff. That wasn't even like a scripted word track. I tried to like make sure you guys could see. I wasn't looking like I was like my screen's all the way over here. This is just the camera, but yeah, that was just like
Who
off the
else?
cuff story from the past.
What are the other objections you guys are struggling with? Because like these are the difference, like these little small, and they're not even like deal killing objections by any means, but these are the deals that Julian's getting that most people aren't, that are allowing him to write 12K, you know. And
Biz coach has me dying with the big step of references. This guy's killing me.
You have me dying with the big step of StreamYard name.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing too, that like, if I really had to boil it down to like one thing, is the frame of mind that I take coming into the call. I think a lot of people sell approvals. I sell applying. And so whenever, let's say, Guam Tech jumps on the call, I'm just using you as an example. This isn't a shot at you by any means. But let's say that Guam Tech jumps on the call and he's like, yeah, man, we can get you approved and we can just get you signed up, right? It's like when you convey to someone that they can have something, they don't really want it as much. And when I take something away from you, you want it that much more. And so the game I'm really good at playing is the game that you can't even get what I have. You have to try to get it. And that's where the value is in my sales process, is that I'm always using words like you might get approved. I don't know if you qualify. You would have to apply. I don't get to call the shots. I'm just trying to get you what's out there that might be the best for you. If you got accepted, they're really picky. Most people can't even get a plan like this because of how low the rates are and how amazing these benefits are. You would have to apply, and it's still a coin toss, but I think you might have a shot. It's like so non-committal from me that like a lot of the times like they just want to try. And after I close them on buying insurance, then I close them on paying for insurance. So then I come in and I'm like, great, let's get the payment done now. And if they're like, oh shit, I don't have any money. Well, how do I get the insurance? Like, oh, Tim, I mean, the insurance company, they do want me to get this set up for today if possible, because they don't like people walking around uninsured if you were to get approved on this. But I mean, I might be able to push this out to a couple of days. Would Tuesday or Wednesday work better, right? And then they're like, oh no, like, well, I guess most of my clients get paid on the 1st or the 3rd. Which one is it for you? And then I close them on the payment date. But if you close someone on applying and then close someone on paying, it's easier than trying to close them on paying and applying at the same time, because you're trying to do a lot with one action. So I think those are some of the most valuable key points of my selling process, if I could give them to anybody.
Well, I think another one that I know a lot of our agents struggle with is like the not interested in the first few seconds of the call.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's kind of role play that one out so people can hear how you overcome that. Because also, I mean, I've seen you overcome that with like, multi-thousands of dollars on the line that turned up to be deals, right? Like they say from you. So let's kind of run through that real quick.
You froze up. I heard you said, and then it went out. What'd you say?
Let's just role play not interested, basically.
Okay, sure. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, is Tim there?
Yeah, this is Tim. What are you calling about?
I was just getting back to you on this form that you sent us here to see if we could even help. It's about the life insurance plans here in the area. How's it going?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not interested. I already got life insurance.
Oh, perfect. And when you say you're not interested, is it just because you don't think you'd be able to get approved, or you just haven't seen the right plan for the right price?
Well, it's because I just got life insurance. That's what I just told you.
Oh, gotcha. And you didn't get like a 2-year wait or nothing like that, did you?
Nope. I got it Mutual of Omaha through the mail.
Oh, those are
Day
my
one.
favorite. Yeah, the ones through the mail. And they didn't ask any of the health questions. You just called right in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love those plans. They're so simple because they don't offer you any of the health questions, so they can get anybody insured. But whenever you talk to the representative, do you remember when they told you that there was a limited benefit period, or that the benefits would start in the first 24 months of the plan after you made your first payments? Do you remember when they went over that with you?
The what?
The 2-year waiting period, did they go over that with you on the call? Because I actually work with Mutual of Omaha. That's the only reason I'm asking.
What do you mean 2-year waiting period? I thought I got paid from day one, or my family got paid.
Well, the insurance starts immediately, but the full benefit wouldn't pay out until after the 24th month has passed. So with the way that it's set up with Mutual of Omaha, whenever you get one of the ones through the mail or off the TV, is that for the first 24 months and first 2 years, effectively, when you're making those payments, they just give you a refund and a little bit of extra money on top of that if something were to happen to you. But I mean, they must have gone over that with you, right?
No, I don't know what that means. So they have to wait 2 years?
Yeah. So like, God forbid you pass away after you made your first payment. I mean, if you, let's say your insurance was $100, they're going to give you they're going to give $110 back to your wife. Is that why you were looking into this, to find a plan without a waiting period?
I mean, no, I probably filled this out before I got insurance, but I mean, I'm going to have to call them back and figure something else out. I want one of the plans without a waiting period.
Okay. Yeah. And Mutual of Omaha does have a plan without a waiting period. And I'd only have to ask you a few questions here to see if you'd even qualify for something like that, Tim. I guess I could just start with something basic. Like, do you smoke tobacco or nicotine? Have you smoked in the last 12 months?
Nope. No, I ran a marathon like last week.
Oh man, I've always wanted to do that. Where'd you go? What marathon?
I just ran it on a treadmill.
Oh, nice. Not my style, man. That's going to be joint pain for me. So, do you ever have any history of like a heart attack or stroke or cancer here in the past? Anything like that?
Perfect. Yeah, dude, I think we can cut it there. That was solid. I was trying to be hard on you too, but you just
It's
spun it right
difficult, isn't
around.
it? Yeah,
Of
it's
course,
difficult,
yeah.
man. I come in here and I'm just so nice. I really do try
I
to
would feel like
listen and
such an
help them out.
asshole just like yelling at you.
Yeah, those are my favorite. I used to do this thing back a long time ago when somebody would yell, I'd be like, Tim, is everything okay? Like, it didn't really work that well, but I thought it was hilarious. So I ended up killing it because it didn't work, but it was a great test.
That's funny. Do you guys have any other objections that you guys struggle with? Otherwise, I'm just going to come up with something. Julian, I'm going to have to talk to my wife before I actually do anything here.
Yeah, perfect. Is there something in particular about this plan that you think your wife might not like?
No, nothing in particular. We just make decisions together.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I hear you, man. I wouldn't want you to end up in the doghouse or anything like that. If I make a decision without my wife, it's game over. Have you guys talked about this in the past?
No. That's why I got to talk to her now before I do it.
I hear you. Okay. And so this is kind of y'all's first time looking into life insurance. She hasn't really been in the loop on this. Am I on the same page with you here?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Gotcha. And so I guess, would she be the one that would be responsible kind of covering your funeral bill, or if you were to pass away, or who would be responsible for something like that?
Yeah, she would be responsible.
Okay. Gotcha. And so, I mean, my only concern is that right now we're not even sure if you'd be able to get approved for a plan like this. Do you think that your wife currently approves of you not having life insurance in place, or what does that look like?
Probably. I mean, I'm sure she wouldn't like the fact that I don't have coverage, but that's why I started looking.
Okay. Gotcha. I guess I'm just trying to figure out here, because right now we're not really sure if you're even eligible for something like this, Tim. I mean, these day one benefits are no joke. They go through an intense screening process to see if you're even qualified. I guess what I could do is just fill out an application to see if you get approved, and we could go ahead and figure everything out for you. That way you can take something concrete back to your wife. And because I know if I took something back to her and then I end up getting declined, I'm going to be in the freaking doghouse for at least a week. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
Like, if you go back to her and say, hey, honey, why don't we get this life insurance for, let's say, the $10,000 for $100 a month? And then we aren't even able to get you approved. Now we're back to square one. You'd have to check back with her again. And it would just be a vicious cycle of going through insurance applications and checking with your wife every time. So why don't we go ahead and get you approved first to see if you even qualify? That first payment wouldn't be due until after you and your wife have talked about it. And that way you guys have something concrete to talk about. Sound fair enough?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Okay, perfect. I've just got to verify some information here with you. And if you don't get approved, Tim, Please don't worry about it. I do have a backup option for us, but I want to see if we can't get you the best plan here. Okay.
Okay.
And I think
All right. Ask me for oh, go ahead. You got something to say about that?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the most valuable thing in that situation is that even like, you notice I immediately just started deferring to like, we don't even know if you're approved. I can't get you approved. These are really rigorous assessments they take us through. It's going to be difficult. Then you're going to have to go back and forth with the wife. I made it sound like it was a miserable process if he doesn't do it now. But then even when he said he committed to it, I was like, if you don't get approved, please don't worry. I do have a backup option, but I want to try for number one first. Now, if he's like, well, dude, I mean, he's thinking in his mind, well, dude, if I don't get approved, like shit, now what? I got to go with the backup option. And I might know that he's a sure shot. But when I say that, he's more bought into the fact that he's got to apply. We're selling the application and then closing them on the payment date. We're not selling them on both. I don't want to sell that guy on paying today. I want to sell him on applying today. So once I sell you on applying today, right?
I've heard people that will sell you on the payment date in the first 30 seconds of the call. Like, yeah, we're going to be filling out an application today, and I'm going to help you with that.
Yeah, that's stupid. Because you're going to scare people off that are real buyers that want to buy. And they're going to get nervous. I always joke about dating. It's like, hey, you just sit down like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Big Steppa. Let's get out of here. You want to go back to my place? I got a bottle of wine and a movie. No, of course not. That's not going anywhere. And we don't want to do that with them either. We want to be delicate. But you had a question for me, Timo? What was up?
Oh yeah, ask me for my banking. Michelle wants to hit that one.
Sure. Hey Tim, now the last thing that we need to do here to make sure that your sister Maya is going to be paid that $15,000 check and to keep that payment up to date for you is just going to be valid payment information. What is the name of the bank or financial institution that you do business with, Mr. Tim?
I do business with J.P. Morgan Chase Bank Incorporated.
Chase Bank. Okay, perfect. Did you get registered with them here in the state of Texas? Is that correct?
I actually got registered with them in Alaska.
In Alaska. Okay, give me one moment. My system does automatically populate the routing number here for us, Tim. I do need you to confirm this here for me, just so we know whether or not this is actually up to date. That routing number should be 000-000-000. Is that correct for Chase in Alaska?
Like my card number, or what do you mean?
No, this would be the routing number. This would be the number that's on the bottom left side of a check.
I mean, I don't have a check in front of me, but that's probably right.
Okay, no worries. And now this is something,
but
Tim.
How would you know that?
This would be public information through Chase Bank. That's what I just want to make sure it's up to date here for us. But this is something that we are going to want to confirm. So if this is just an I think, I want to turn that into an I know. Would you mind grabbing a blank check for me just to make sure we get this right? Because if this is wrong, that means Maya's not going to get paid the $15,000 that you want to get approved for here today, and we've got to get that taken care of.
Well, I'm just going to put it on my Chase credit card.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to put it on the Chase credit card? Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Give me one moment here. Let me check on this for you. Okay. Okay. It's coming back with an error message here for us, Tim. It looks like due to the Patriot Act of 2001, we do have to put valid payment information on file, like a bank account or something that has a direct wire transfer option available because of previous money laundering activities from terrorist organizations. Obviously, I know you're not a terrorist. You know I'm not a terrorist, of course, but the insurance company doesn't know that because they're not the ones talking to you right now. I'm just ready for that routing number whenever you are.
You just gave me my routing number.
Okay, I just want you to confirm it for me. It should be the 000-000-000. Is that the correct one?
Yeah, that's correct.
Perfect. And then the last thing we need to that we need here on file for you, just to make sure that we can keep these payments up to date for you, Mr. Tim, is just that account number. I'm ready for that whenever you are.
I'll give you my card number, but I'm not going to give you my account number.
Sure, no worries at all.
If you want to drive out here to Texas, we can do that. But
yeah, hold on.
I'm a little nervous about it.
I totally understand. Let me pack up my bags real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm totally kidding, Tim. I'm over here in Arizona. I wouldn't be able to make it out to you. Now I know you said that you're not comfortable giving this out over the phone.
I run into this all the time, especially with all the scammers and stuff out there. Would it make you more comfortable if we were able to do this over like a Zoom call or something where you could see that I'm just a boring old insurance guy?
I mean, even scammers have Zoom. I don't know how that would help at all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess I could send you like my insurance license or something just so you know who you're doing business with, or maybe even a couple of reviews here from our company. I want to make sure you're comfortable making this decision while you're insuring your family members. What would work better for you?
Yeah. Well, I'm not comfortable. That's why I just want to give you my card number.
Yeah, for sure. Now, like I said, Tim, with the insurance application, I don't get to call the shots around here. I'm just the boring old insurance guy at the bottom of the totem pole. But with the insurance company, they are going to require that payment information. So if you're not comfortable doing that, I am just going to have to close out your file here and go ahead and remove you from the system. This would mean you're ineligible to apply for life insurance with us here. Did you have any questions for me on this, or how did you want to move forward?
You can't just put a card on? Like, there's no option to just do a card?
Tim, if I could put a card on file for you here, I'd be the first one to do it, my friend. But that's just something that I can't get around. They don't let me do it. The only thing I can put on here for you would be an account number. If you have a different bank, we could put that account number on file for you. But that's the only way I'd be able to do it for you. What'd you say that account number was?
Hold up. Somebody called me. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you could send me your driver's license so I know where you live, I'll send my dogs after you if you ever do anything, or if I see any mysterious charges come out of my bank account. I guess that might make me a little more comfortable, just so I know you have some skin in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I can get that out here for you. And then let's see here. Did you want me to send you a selfie as well while I'm on the line?
I'm not into all that selfie stuff.
I hear
That's
you,
your
Mr.
millennial
Tim.
game.
Yeah, no joke, man. These girls are out of control here on social media. The guys, too, nowadays. You wouldn't believe it. Let me get this pulled up for you. Give me 1 second, and I'll send you my insurance license here for the state of Texas as well. That way you know exactly who you're dealing with, and you can move forward with confidence. Give me 1 moment while that sends over. Should be coming through via text message from an 806 number. Do you see that coming through now? It says Big Steppa on the license and on the insurance license as well. Let me know when you see it.
Yep, here it is right now. Big Steppa, 123 15th Street.
Yep, that's the one.
Big Steppa, Texas. Yep.
Yeah,
that
pardon the
looks right.
license picture. Gosh, I look like a freaking degenerate in that one. I didn't sleep too great that night. I just had been raising a puppy, and it was out of control.
I can tell. It looks like it.
Yeah, seriously. And then the last thing I do have to do just before we can finish this up so it doesn't time out on us would be putting that account number on file for you. What was that account number, Mr. Tim?
It's 919-991-1991-001-78645.
Okay. Now, to confirm this with you here real quick, Tim, because I'm not able to go back and access this private information after this phone call, this should be 919-991-9119. Is that correct?
You forgot all the other numbers, but it's fine.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, I've got that down here for us, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. This is the last step we have to take here before we sign this application. Once we sign this and submit the application, we're going to get news back on whether or not you were even approved for this policy, Tim. So let's see what they have to say here. I'm about to send that over, and I'll have to sign it on my end. And then I just go through the e-sig process.
Boom. I was bested.
Dude, I just don't give up, bro. I told you, man. This is it. Like, they just like they'll literally be like, yeah, no, like I'm just gonna close this out for you, dude. There's nothing else I can do, man. I don't know what else to tell you. But yeah, I think like that's what I was saying earlier. It's just like I don't really turn back when it comes down to like getting into the trenches. If they're gonna tell me no, they can tell me no 12 freaking times. We can play the dude. I've sat on there for 40 minutes going through objections, getting deals. And you've seen it. We have calls here on YouTube that have stuff like that. And that's the thing too, is like this coach just said, we can hear the smile on your face. There's no change in my tonality. I'm always mega positive. Like so positive.
That's the thing too, because if you would have pushed there, you always sounded really comfortable and confident, but also like you weren't getting frustrated with me even a little bit. And that's the only reason that you didn't lose me.
Mm-hmm. Same with e-signatures. If you start getting frustrated on an e-signature and an old lady can't figure it out, God, that's e-signature's not working. Like, I totally understand here, Miss Jones. Listen, you're a rock star. Most people don't get this on their first try. You know what? I actually failed this part of my training. Let me walk you through it because after the 5th time, I finally got it. Let's start from the top here, okay? And they're like, wow, this guy sucks at e-signature too. Okay, let's redo it. But if I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Oh no, like the whole thing's gonna fall apart. You just got to keep your cool going into it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think we're passing the hour mark here. I want to open it up to any other questions or maybe even one last objection. If we jump off here and get back to work and dinner.
Get back to work.
All right. Let's see. Any more objections? I got game over from Patricia. Pat. Let's see. We got anything else? Any other objections, questions, or other? Anything else you guys got? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Gina just texted me. I think she got her client day 1 coverage, but she told her she had a 2-year wait because she didn't know. So she's going to have to go back and tell her that she got day 1 instead of a waiting period. So that's good news.
That's
for the
such
client.
bad news.
Yeah. I just thought that
real.
was funny.
I had a suspicion after listening to that this morning, but cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, guys, I know probably at least like a quarter of the people that are watching this are actually already at our agency, but if you guys aren't, or, are looking for an agency or whatever, I'll tell you guys a little bit about what we're building, what we're doing. Basically, we're building a model where producers just have to show up, sell, and they don't have to worry about leads, softwares, any of the other like recruiting, none of the other BS that comes with being an insurance agent. So all you do is you just show up. I mean, it's more than just showing up. You have to show up and train really hard and do a lot of other things, but it's all just in the sales realm. So everything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis is just improving your sales skill set and calling people. None of the other stuff, right? It's basically like boot camp for sales so that you can reach your full potential as an insurance producer. So essentially, if you guys want to learn more about that, I'm not going to go into it all in this video, but there's going to be a video in the description down below. Or if you go to advancedagentmarketing.com/apply, there's like a 30-minute video that breaks down how the opportunity works, our vision, mission, values for the company, and how we're, a little bit different than other places that are out there. So if you guys want to learn more about that, click the link down below in the description. We'd be happy to hear from you, and you can potentially apply to work with us. Irlande Marius says, why don't you offer part-time position? The reason why is because we put so much time, energy, and money into each individual agent. And so if somebody's not able to dedicate a minimum of 40 hours a week, it's not fair to the agents that are. And so at our team, we're basically like, on our team, we're extremely competitive and we're shooting to be the best. And so if we have people that are putting in part-time effort, Julianne and I put in, 50, 60 hours every single week. We have agents on the team that are putting in 50, 60 hours every week. So if somebody can't put at least 40, it's nothing personal. It just doesn't make sense. The numbers don't add up. So that's why we don't do part-time. It's also really hard to make this business work part-time, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, for real. At least 50 or 60 hours, especially if deals are running late, dude. I mean, there's some nights where my Mondays are typically 14-hour days. So if you're not able to dedicate that, now you don't have to put in a 14-hour day, 5, 6, 7 days a week or anything. But if you can't show up for that, it just doesn't make sense, like Tim said. And if anything changes down the line, please feel free to, reapply. And we'd love to, if it makes sense and we offer you an interview, we'd love to get to know you a little bit better. But yeah, Michelle says part-time does not work successfully in this business. Just saying. Yeah, it really doesn't. This is a tough business because you have to be available at any time to pick up a client call or this or that. Yeah. And it's just not
it's like real estate.
I wouldn't recommend doing any type of sale, like 1099 sales job like this, part-time real estate, insurance sales, anything at all. It doesn't really make sense. Unless you have like an hourly or a base plus commission, sales part-time is pretty dead.
100%. Keyshawn says, "Can I have a screenshot of your dials, presentations, etc.?" You can't do a screenshot because the spreadsheet we use to track all the numbers has other people's stuff on it. But I can tell you, Julian did 802 calls. The amount of quotes you did, I don't actually know off the top of my head, but I know it was 802 calls. Probably like what, 20, 30 quotes?
Maybe, yeah.
What would you estimate?
Yeah, I usually get like a 10% answer rate. So if I made 800 calls, I almost guaranteed got about 80 pickups to 82 pickups. And usually I'll quote about, I'll usually like get probably half of them or so. We'll just hang up and I'll quote like maybe 70% of that. So I probably ripped out like maybe, yeah, like you said, 20, 30 quotes, maybe at the very most. And then of those, I closed however many deals I got. But I usually see it works out to like 10% answer rate, 50% quote rate, and then depending on your close rate and your skills will depend on like what you're actually doing. And it's funny that one of the biggest deals I got, it was like 200 and something a month. I'm going to go call his wife after this to get her signed up. He actually told me he had insurance and didn't want anything. He didn't need it anymore. Powered through 3 objections before getting to the deal, closed it, got him day 1 coverage on a replacement. And I'm going back to sign the wife up to get her replaced and signed up on a policy without a 2-year waiting period, exactly like Tim just said with a Mutual of Omaha plan from the mail. So thank you guys. FT, the second time since April. Thank you guys. Going full time. Oh, spending $225 a day. Good to hear, man. Good to hear. Good stuff. Cool. Well, yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to us at any time. We're here to just give back to the industry and hopefully help people overcome the learning curves that we had to go through. And hopefully you guys don't have to deal with that garbage. But wish you the best of luck. Go out there, get after it. Every day is a new day. And if you continue to put in the effort, the marketplace will reward you. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Take care. Peace out.